I would go with Opal simply because they face so many quality pacers throughout just batting practice. There's nothing new that you can offer. Mustafiz is going to be something new. That's different. They have never faced that and never will. But that's one person. Any other pacer that you can think of in the squad, Rubel is fast, but they have faster. And those guys.
Hey guys, so welcome to the 13th episode of the Yorker. I'm Roey. On the beautiful Bangladesh jersey, you'll see Rinat. Mufi's again very busy, our other co-host, but I'm really pleased to announce that we have Ringo here with us, who was also our guest in the 5th episode. But it just seems like such a long time ago, and so many things have happened since then. Uh, for like one of those things happened today. This was a do or die game versus Afghanistan, and it was a nail biter. And I just can't imagine the emotions fans must be feeling right now. But we're here to talk about it and give them some voice. So, Renat, what would you make of the game? How are you feeling right now?
I'm actually gonna let's start with Ringo today,
I like
because
that. Yeah.
I want to hear what's his opinion of the game.
Um, I really loved it actually. I felt like if there wasn't something heartstringing that would come along in this game, then maybe a lot of us would feel a little bit disappointed because the last two games was kind of leading us there, and this was like that straw that was gonna break, or we were just hit that next level. Thankfully, like it's either feast or famine, and today was feast. So I feel like everybody is back in the right mode, which is happy, positive. They're thinking about the next game, and they're actually feeling good about all the players. I think sometimes that's important too, because when it gets a little bit problematic, you see in the forums the whole mood kind of shifts and everything is bad and something is wrong with him and him and
Oh yeah.
him. Yeah, but in the end, I think we all want these guys to do well, and we want to praise them, and we want to actually say good things about them, and feel really good about our team when we are actually writing or just interacting in the forum. And a game like this sort of brings that back, which is great because now we can actually talk positively and say good things about our players. Sometimes you want to, Sometimes you don't want to be that critique and figure out and talk about what's wrong, but that's where it leads to sometimes. Um, but it's good when you don't have to do those discussions. It's actually quite liberating.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just telling myself that please don't get attached to the outcome because we've seen where that takes us in the past. You get so attached to the outcome and then it doesn't go your way. And that's when your heart breaks. And so I was chatting on the forum. I was trying to tell people the same things. Then just enjoy it as it is. But Renat, before this we were talking a little bit about Afghanistan and how we should give them a lot of credit. Wouldn't you say that they have come a long, long way from even say just a few months back? They look a completely changed team now.
Yeah, like I was telling you a while ago that, until very recently I used to think Afghanistan is a two-man team, and it relies heavily on Rashid Khan and Mohammed Nabi, um, on pulling off a performance. But you can't really have two people winning games against test teams, right? Like, when you look at their team now, when you look at the 50 overs and the recent T20s, you can tell that their team is building up very nicely. They got some good batsmen that are understanding the temperament and the difference of it in different formats. And then they have bowlers that are trying to do the basics right, and they're coming together as a team. They were a very spirited team from the beginning, so that was already there. They had the bravery, they had the passion, and all they needed is just some sort of discipline. And I think they are getting there. They're very close to that, and I'm actually very happy to see Afghanistan do really well. Really happy to see one of the another Asian giant coming up, and I feel like this. I actually think Afghanistan is going to be one of those teams that's going to win a World Cup before Bangladesh.
Oh, wow.
Don't hold that against me, but I think they have that kind of desire, that fierce passion that I feel like sometimes we lack in majority of our team members. Not all, but majority.
I see what you mean by that. And this is a really good segue because I see a lot of the same type of passion that you talked about in Pakistan. There's also another team like that, the way they won the World Cup in 1992, making a rally just like that. And you can never count them out because they keep producing all these new talents from their domestic structure. Ringo, so how do you feel about facing Pakistan? It's basically a semifinal for us. If we win, we play India. If we lose, we go home. So how do you what do you think of the match that's coming up?
Yeah, they're a very passionate bunch too. I think if you're looking at Afghanistan and Pakistan, it's pretty much that same blood. So they will have that hunger always. Even if we put them in a bad situation early on, it will never be over till really the last ball. You really have to play them active and play them well, which brings me to an interesting point that I was thinking about. The fact that Imrul actually came in and batted in the middle overs really changed up our squad. And the reason was that experience brings a confidence. Mitun, he had a good start, but a signature tournament like this, where 4 or 5 countries are playing, and really that's the global audience for cricket, is Asia. And all of their eyes are focused on this tournament, and they're so passionate about it. It's a lot of pressure. Uh, I feel like Mitun and new guys like this that are sort of put in the position to perform right away in this stage are feeling the pressure really hot, and they're not able to really come through as much as we like them to be. And the fact is that you have to give them chances, but this is not that tournament. They should get that chance in an overseas tournament somewhere else, low pressure, out of the country. You have a long series, get and
Right.
get. This is a tournament for experienced guys, and it showed. Imrul supposedly landed late last night, came this morning, put into bat, puts in a huge number. That's actually a game-saving number.
Yeah.
That takes experience only. You can't get that from the newbies. Neither should you expect it. That's number one. You know. So I feel our experience is gonna give us that edge in the end. They will come out as a passionate bunch, but they just faced defeat in India 2 times. Say what you may, but that does have a psychological effect. You are in the losing end. You haven't won in a little bit. Versus Bangladesh coming off something, maybe it could have gone either way, and they know it. They know it. So, but that feeling, that's contagious, and that will sort of help them more psychologically if it gets down to something like that, which
Right.
it very well.
Right. And we'll get into the lineup. In fact, that's how we'll wrap it up in the end. We'll try to us three of us will try to unanimously agree, and we'll hash it out between ourselves. But we'll come to a lineup that we're going to field against Pakistan.
Hmm.
But talking about this game, Rinat, Mustafizer really bailed us out, didn't he? Because we can sit here and act like armchair critics and talk about Afghanistan as if we're so much better than them. But I really feel like that's why I asked you in the first place. They've come such a long way, and they're at a touching distance now. And today was Mustafiz's day. I mean, just take it on. How do you feel about this guy, this special talent that we have in our team who can defend 8 runs in the last over with 4 wickets left? I mean, that's just unheard of in today's game.
Yeah, I think, and I have to give some credit to IPL for that because Mustafiz is the kind of guy he played in tough situations in IPL against really good batsmen, and then he failed in most of those, if I remember correctly, for Mumbai Indians and Sunrisers Hyderabad. But he learned from it, and this was one of the games where the opposition was less experienced than he was. Usually, we're the less experienced one in these situations, and then we lose out because we cannot hold our nerves. But in this situation, Mustafiz was the more experienced one. Um, I thought the last delivery was a very risky one, to be very honest, because it was short, it was outside off. If if the batsman touched it, it had a good possibility of running away. But he was brave enough to try it. He knew what he was doing. I don't think Mustafiz was just just throwing it out there. He had a plan, so and it worked. But yeah, all credits to him. He was limping. He wasn't looking very comfortable. So the fact that he bowled such an amazing last over, it's something to praise.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Uh, Going into the Pakistan match, I feel like what Ringo said is true. We are more experienced than them. However, looking at their stats wise, they're actually better. I was looking at their top lineup. It's kind of frightening numbers. The good thing is a lot of those guys they've played less than 15 matches. So I'm thinking a lot of their stats actually happened because of the Zimbabwe series that they faced just before this tournament. And I feel like we have a stronger bowling lineup than Zimbabwe. How do you guys feel about that? Do we? And if that's the case, then surely they can keep up those frightening numbers that Pakistan's top order has. And some of those guys have like 40 up averages. The thing is, they've played like around 15 to 20 games. Some more than that, but that's the ballpark figure.
If you look at this innings, I mean, not the innings, if you look at the Asia Cup, their batting situation is kind of similar to ours. It's been their experienced guys that are bailing them out. It's been Shoaib Malik, Sarfaraz Ahmed. They're bailing them out for this contest at least. So they are in a
True.
similar situation where their junior players, they are very talented, don't get me wrong. Fakhar Zaman, Babar Azam especially, they're very talented batsmen. But on a big stage, they are still relatively unexperienced. But on their to their advantage, both Sarfaraz and Shoaib Malik are more consistent than our seniors to a certain degree.
Yep.
And a major factor that I think it's going to be a problem for Bangladesh is that if we're talking about being physically fit, Pakistani players are more fit than us, and especially in a tournament where we're playing a lot of games in a short amount of time with a very high temperature. I think their fitness level is going to come handy. And I think this is where we fall a little short. And we have been falling a little short against India, Afghanistan. Even it was showing a little bit today that our players were very exhausted. So I guess in that perspective, Pakistan have a little bit of an edge. But again, I also know that if all three of Shakib, Mushfiq, and Riyad get going, then really their senior side does not really match up to that because an in-form top order for our team is far more effective than theirs. So we have
True.
just have to hope that we get some stability there.
True. However, their new guys' potential, their ceiling, I feel, is higher than ours because I just remembered. So their averages
Yeah.
are Fakhr Zaman and Imam ul Haq, their new opener. They're coming in with both averages of 60 plus, and they've faced about 15 games, so that's not too much. So that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna beat them, we our bowling better be good. Because if not, because they've shown in their limited over career that they can take it up, they can maintain this average possibly if we give them the same type of deliveries that Zimbabwe gave them. So
I don't
The
doubt
thing
that
is,
will
yeah,
change.
no, Ringo, go ahead.
Oh, I don't doubt the stats will change much. They might still be holding on to that average even after this game into next year. But again, our bowling experience, I think, will help us. They have faced 15, but like you said, some of them is Zimbabwe. That gives you a false confidence as a batsman. Going into this, you're going to be facing Mashrafi, who's pretty much faced every known batsman you can think of in the last 10 years that have played cricket. And then Mustafiz is the very best. If you could,
Yeah.
face anyone in the death overs, that would be that guy. Or opening. Hell, the first swing and cut and does all kinds of things in the air, and that will be the wicket. And really, if you get them down to 4 and 5, after that, Shakib comes in and they can snap up everything else. And Miraz is actually, for his age, and like you said, his numbers might be good too, but his numbers are against quality, quality opposition. His very first breakthrough was against England. That's in tests, but still, who goes through the English lineup like that in this day? And he did, right? So
And it is
that,
one game after all. It's just one game we're talking about,
yeah,
but they have to come through. Should we go into the lineup? Because I feel like a lot of it just keeps coming up again and again.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
All right, so the opening pair, it's going to be contested because I actually want to put Kais in there, but I know you guys might have different feelings, or if you want to disagree, I would open with Liton and Kais because I feel like he did good in the middle order today, but traditionally he's not an opener, and I mean he is an opener. He's not a middle order batsman, and I think if you tell him to replicate that, I don't know how successful he'd be. Whereas I think he's more used to that type of opening role. So I'm actually gonna go with Liton and Kayes. By the way, I'm not letting Liton off the hook either, because he's been pretty poor. I mean, today was his only good innings, but really, I mean, I saw a lot of people taking the piss out of Mitun, but really, both of these guys, Mitun and Liton, they've only come good once and 4 opportunities so far. But because I want to give people chances, and I know Ringo's a big favor of consistency as well. I remember he said that when he came on that he doesn't want to tinker with the team too much. He wants to give people sustained chances. So that's my reason. Sorry, I went for too long. I didn't mean to, but Liton and Kais are my two. What about you, Ringo? Who are you
I
gonna go for?
say, but you might be forgetting there's another player that they brought in, and that guy didn't fly for nothing. That
I like that. Yeah, for sure.
I think likely what's going to happen is Imrul is going to retain his role at fifth or sixth down, whatever
Okay,
he was, and then Shomo is going to open with Liton.
I see. Rinat, come in. How do you feel?
Um, well, I, what Ringo said is probably the most logical thing to do at this point. But having said that, I just don't know if Shomu has fixed anything for the very reason he was dropped off before. So I'm kind of against the idea of just going in a circle of giving people chances that, you fail, you get dropped, and then you wait for your turn again. I'm not a big fan of that. That way, players don't learn, they don't work hard. So I'm not sure if I want to give Shomo a chance, but it might be the most logical one because he is the only other clear opener that's in the squad. Having said that, if I were to gamble, I would actually put Miton up in for opening because he's also an opener. And I would leave Imrul where he is, like Ringo said, because he is edgy. We all know that,
Uh,
and we're gonna have Amer, Shaheen Afridi, and we're gonna have Hassan Ali. These guys are pacey, so I'm not sure how comfortable Imrul will be. So I'll just leave him down there, and I'll just let him play that. Let him play in the middle order position where it's a lot more comfortable for him. He's really good against spin. He was really good against leg spin, something all of our other batsmen have been struggling with. So facing Shadab Khan would be a very big advantage for him. So I would leave him down there. Uh, but that's just me, though. But I do understand if people want to have Shomo over.
Right. No, I'll concede that to you guys. I do agree because Rinat, you mentioned that Shanto should have never been included in the first place in the squad, and maybe one can make an argument that Shomo should have never been dropped in the first place. So, by going by that logic, you could leave him in there, and he deserves a much more sustained chance because he's actually one of our guys who, in his first 10 games, he actually had a 60 plus average, but then it came down. maybe we should stick with him, give him the opportunity to, get his trajectory in the right direction again. So
Well,
Lito
we
and Shomo.
did, right? We did, right? Shomo has been there in the squad pretty much consistently since 2015. His only problem is that he hasn't been fixing his uh, technique issues, and that's one of the reasons why it's really hard to back him up. But yeah, for now, I would also say that yeah, we could have Shomo in there.
Well, the thing is, I think all of this tournament leading up to the World Cup is just to give the senior guys that one last real shot at a World Cup. Uh, so Tamim, throughout his 10 years, had so many partners, opening partners, but he needs to find that one partner that's going to take him into the World Cup and hopefully help him along while he builds, a really good innings or a really good performance. He needs that stability going into that World Cup. So whoever we select starting in this tournament is very important, and that person, whoever that is, should be the one that we stick to leading up to the World Cup because he's going to need to be there for Tamim to score big. And in a game like this against Pakistan, I feel like someone like Tamim in the first few overs would do very well. Though, like he said, the bowlers are very pacey. But Tamim is the only one who can face pacey bowlers very, very well and pick up those crucial runs in those first 10 overs when the fielders are
Yep.
a little, you know,
Right.
and experience too to play pace at that level. Tamim has that, and Imrul would be, like he said, a problem, a liability at that position. But in the middle overs, he's perfect, which is why I hope they do stick with him. But we're going to really miss Tamim in this. But we may not have to if we find the right partner for him in this tournament leading up to the World Cup.
Right. And we'll definitely do many more episodes on that. Uh,
Yeah.
for this task though, because we do have to win the semifinal to face India. So we're gonna go with Lito and Shomo. So 3 and 4 now. Uh, for me, I'm not gonna make it into a rant like last time. Very straightforward. I'm gonna go with Mushfiq coming in at 3 and Shakib at 4 for the very same reasons I gave last time. Because I think the Shakib good performances against West Indies, it was just an aberration. He's better at 4. And if you're looking for those type of technical guys who's gonna hold us up and not make us lose too many wickets, that person to me has to be Mushfiq. So Mushfiq at 3, Shakib at 4. Ringo, are you with that or
Yeah.
Rinat?
Yeah, like that's the same thing we decided on for the last
Cool,
game, and it should
cool.
stay that it should stay there. And the only thing I was thinking though is, what if we do push down Shakib one more spot? Because if I remembered the game against New Zealand in the Champions Trophy, Shakib and Riyad had a very good partnership. And the kind of collapse we saw there is the kind of collapse we're seeing here.
Hold on,
And
let me stop you there. So are you want to bring Riyadh up and or
no, I want to push Shakib down. I actually want to have Imrul up at number 4, and then Shakib at 5, Riyadh at 6. But again, it's not a big thing I'm suggesting. If Shakib comes at 4, I don't think it's a big difference.
true?
It's just from the reference I'm saying from the Champions Trophy game where we had a collapse and then we had two senior guys that were left and they actually held it out. So that's the whole reason I'm suggesting that.
Right. I actually don't mind that much because I too feel like this whole Imrul thing. If he's if or maybe Ringo has something else to say about that. I don't know because I don't at this point I don't know what's the right position for Imrul. He did pretty good. So do you want to really keep him at? He came in at 5, right? Or do you want to bring him at 4? What would you say,
I
Ringo?
or just for the reasons that he said, which is that he's a great player of spin. And if you have Mushfiq in one end and you have Imrul just hitting the spinners and Mushfiq just rotating, that's a lethal combo from overs
Okay,
25 to 40.
I'm cool with that. So number 5, Shakib, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Number 6,
Yeah.
as Riyadh.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, because we're not. Are we selecting midfield?
What?
Or
What I want is all of our seniors to be next to each other so that we don't get into that collapse situation.
Mhm.
The best way to avoid the collapse is to get as many stable players together as possible in the hope of creating a partnership, right?
Okay.
If you put in guys like Mossadegh and Mitun in the middle, that's where you risk
Yeah.
losing 2, 3 quick wickets, and then suddenly your whole approach takes a back step, right? And that's what I want to prevent. So if Mushfiq, Imrul, Shakib, Riyad, they all come next to each other, that kind of gives that stability. That kind of gives you that, it's less likely to have a collapse if those four people are coming next to each other.
right. Now, I totally agree. I just find it fascinating how Imrul he wasn't even a part of the squad, right? He was just flown in,
Yeah.
and people are giving credit to Papon, the BCB director. And hey, I can't disagree. Because of that man, now Imrul's in the squad, and it seems to be pretty stable now, for whatever reason.
From what I heard, though, Imru was asked to be included in the squad in the first place, and for some reason they chose to not take him. He was supposed to go in the first place, and then they had a last minute change, and he did not end up going. So he was always on a standby that if something happens, he's gonna fly. It was Shomu, I think that was a late addition that he was not even in the scene, and then they decided to send him anyway, seeing that they're struggling with any opener of some sort. So yeah,
Yeah, right. So we have 6 players so far. So 7, I would keep Miraz in there, uh, just because I want to develop him, let him have these opportunities
yeah,
with the ball, let him get better,
I,
and let him
yeah,
get better with the bat as well. What do you guys
yeah.
think, Miraz?
I totally agree with you on that. I feel like from what I've seen of Miraz, he is improving very fast, especially as a batsman. I think we need to give him that chance. And with the kind of wicket we're seeing, with the kind of pace of the game we're seeing right now, he is gonna even if he comes at 7, he'll still get some time to bat, right? He may even come in at 25 overs with the way Bangladesh is batting. But yeah, so he if he gets that chance, I feel like he's very handy against spin, and if we can groom him to be even close to the all-rounder Shakib is, I think we have ourselves another asset. So I totally agree with that. But again, it depends, right? With that 4 senior players up the order, if you're in a situation where they have held the innings for good 40 overs, at that point it's not going to be Miraz coming in. It's going to be either Mitun
True.
or Mashrafi, or if Ariful is playing it, then Ariful, someone who can hit. So it
Hmm.
all depends on the situation.
Right,
What do you think, Ringo?
but in yeah, go ahead, Ringo. Or I was gonna.
Oh, I was gonna say ideally Sabir, but that's not an option. But
Oh yeah,
ideally,
no, because I mean, again, we could have an episode later on, and we will. Trust me, for the viewers out there, we can go in so many different ways. But let's keep this to the task ahead versus Pakistan.
yeah. So Miraz, yeah,
Sure, go with Miraz.
yeah.
So 7 down, then it's 8, 9, 10, 11. Are we in favor of keeping Opu in there? I thought he had a good game. I don't see any reason why not to yank him out
Well,
as well.
you're bringing in too early though, because you need another batsman there.
Oh no, oh sorry, I meant just I'm gonna. Okay, so we okay.
Do a block.
If you're gonna stick by the order, then sure.
Yeah.
But can we have Opu coming in like at 10 or 11?
Um.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. At that point, it doesn't really matter. If they get that deep in the tail, the game is over.
Yeah,
Okay, either batting first, batting second. If they get that deep, it's over. I think 7 is fine because that's what we're talking about. If we bat out the 50 overs, ideally, and good timing, good run rate, then yeah. Ideally, up to 7 is all we should discuss. Everything else after that is really.
no, that's good.
But
That's very direct actually. That's very good. So just pick 4 bowlers now. That's what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Okay, I'll take Mash. Uh,
That's what I'm saying. We're not gonna pick 4 more bowlers because you already have Miraz and Shakib on the side. We're not gonna pick 6 bowlers, right?
right.
So you're gonna have to put one of Mitun or Ariful in that number
Oh,
8 right now.
that. Which one would you rather put in?
Yeah. So I want to ask you that though, Roey. I think you'd probably go with me too on that.
Yeah, I
I would
would.
go with Mitun.
Okay. Yeah.
Why just ruin this kid's hopes? Just bring Ariful in for
Yeah.
one game, and then again, if he does bad, doesn't make any sense. So Mitun for me.
Okay. And then I want to ask Ringo on this because I'm really struggling with this idea because I really liked how Oppo bowled today. I really liked it. He was very accurate. Like it's crazy. I actually thought he was more accurate than Shaki for the most part. So I'm struggling with this idea that Oppo was really good, but I'm also thinking against Pakistan, maybe Rubel could be more effective, Rubel or Ronnie. So what do you think, Ringo? If it were you, would you go with an extra spinner, which is Oppo, or would you go back to the three pacer strategy?
I would go with Opal simply because they face so many quality pacers throughout just batting practice. There's nothing new that you can offer. Mustafiz is going to be something new. That's different. They have never faced that and never will. But that's one person. Any other pacer that you can think of in the squad, Rubel is fast, but they have faster. And those guys play them every single day, 7 days a week for practice,
Yeah.
3 hours. Okay? You're not going to get these Pakistani batsmen with just pure pace. You may be able to pick up the wickets, you know, if they make a mistake, an error of some kind. So, but to give yourself really a chance in the middle overs, which is when really the target is set, you can either slow them down quite a bit or they'll just keep chugging. And in the end, last 10 overs, they'll kill you if you put pace in. So you have to sort of pick up those wickets and have questions for them in those middle overs. Shakib is going to ask questions, but that's because he's experienced. You need another intelligent person in there that can put those balls in the right areas and ask those questions and keep them honest. Because if you can keep them honest, then later on they will be under pressure. So the Pacers, even if they are not bowling at their best and they're tired like they were today, you just get them to make mistakes because they need to hit in the last 10, get something on the board, put them under pressure. You got them, but build the pressure or take the wicket. You have to have good spinners in the middle. Miraj is going to be one. Shakib is going to be one. This guy can be the third one.
I think that was
Yeah.
pretty well said actually, and also the Indian spinners did get a lot of success versus Pakistan. So, and I would, if it was me, I would pick Opu. Also because I look at it this way, I'm a fair guy. I've criticized Opu in the past. I've said he throws pies, he throws darts. He's not a good bowler. But then again, when he shows me that what he's capable of with performances like that, I thought it was pretty good. It's only fair for me if I put myself in the shoes of a selector to give him the next game, and I would put. But Rina, if you want to make your case, please.
No, like I said, that's the part where I'm struggling because Oppo did perform really well. I liked him as a bowler from before. The only thing I was thinking though is today, just seeing Mashrafi rotate himself and Mustafiz around because they were the only two seamers, they were kind of struggling, especially in this heat when you're expecting the two seamers to bowl 10 overs each because they're the only two seamers and we're playing back-to-back games, not much of a break. It's kind of hard. When I was watching the game, I could understand why having Rubel would have benefited them a little bit. But Nazmul makes that case very difficult because he actually bowled power play overs and he bowled so well. So it's hard. But then I
In that case, Rinat, what's wrong with going with four bowlers? Because the batsman should take more ownership. The batsman,
because because
because
the
Mashrafe can hit,
our
right?
batting has been struggling, right? Our batting has been struggling a lot. So going with four frontline bowlers at this point is really a luxury that we can't afford. We need that extra guy. But I was gonna suggest something though. So if that is the case, we could have hopefully maybe Shomo bowl a few overs if needed because he can bowl some decent medium pace. I was gonna say if Ariful was in the team, he could do that. So if he plays instead of Mitun, maybe he could bowl a few overs too. But then I also realized Shom was already there, and Shom was pretty good as well. So as long as Mashrafi uses him smartly in between in the middle overs, he could bowl like 3 to 4 overs, and then Riyadh bowls another 3 to 4. That kind of takes the pressure off a little bit from the two seamers.
They haven't really used Mamadou Riyad at all in bowling in the last year, so I was really surprised that they chose to use him after so long. I thought it was his age. He didn't practice the bowling enough, which is why he's not doing it at all anymore. But he was just a
It,
bat for a long time.
but yeah, but it should be the opposite because he just came back from Caribbean Premier League where he was playing primarily as a bowler. He was
Correct.
bowling full quota. So I'm guessing that's where Mashrafi got the confidence from. And I actually kind of think I was thinking, and I could be wrong. I think Mashrafi doesn't use Riyadh on purpose. He kind of wants to keep him as a mystery bowler because whenever he brings him on, usually Riyadh produces the result. But if you keep bowling him full quotas every game, I think that mystery factor kind of disappears. So I actually think it's a ploy by Mashrafi himself. Like he doesn't use him in every game, but when needed, he brings him in, and then for that short spells, and he surprises the batsman. Because what happens when Riyadh comes in is either the batsman goes after him and gives away the wicket, or Riyadh snucks in a few quiet overs, which is also always beneficial.
That's how India used to use Ganguly back in the days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I would agree with that. So then, do we agree on Mushrafe, Mustafiz, and Opu? Even though
Yeah.
there is something very jarring. Now, you having mentioned that, I just realized it. Just having two pacers, Shomo can help out, but then again, he's a part timer, and what if he gets picked apart? But he hasn't done too badly in the past, Shomo, when he was given the ball. And maybe that could be one of the reasons of actually including him in the first place, that he could do some what they call military medium pace. So good. I think we ever lined up. Should we go into predictions? By the way, I just want to say it's very cool is that we have the three of us here because we have like different philosophies. I'm more into the culture and the bird's eye view strategy. We're not totally about ownership, holding the players accountable. And I remembered this from my chat with Ringo that he's a guy who likes consistency. He didn't appreciate the fact that Tuscan was tossed out just like that. He wants to give them chances, and I think that's good. And we've actually learned a lot about that in this tournament. How much of a big difference those senior guys can make. So there's something to be said about that, and I'm sure we'll make many episodes in the future about this. Having said that, let's close this out with our official predictions. Who would like to start? I'll start. I so this might be a shocker actually. I'm gonna go against my team. Yeah. Uh, I I was looking at the stats of those guys. It's just one game. Numbers don't lie. I think it'll be a close game, but I think it's going to be a heartbreak for Bangladesh. You guys want to come in? Your predictions for the match?
I don't think
Go ahead.
so, because everything we have talked about today leads me to believe that we all pretty much focused on a batting heavy team. Our bowlers will. We're really when we are talking, got the feeling that they're about containing or mostly containing. We're not going with a bowling heavy team or a bowling aggressive team that we want to pick up those 10 wickets sort of deal. We picked up a lineup just from talking based heavily on batting. And we talked about batting qualities, who can come in where, do what in what overs, right? So if we are batting to ideally what we should bat, we should put in at least 250 on the board, ideally 270, 280, you know. And after that, it's just, if you can make it, make it. And I don't think they'll make it. I think the pressure of losing to India so much, pressure of, there's another game against Afghanistan coming up after this, and they're not going to be easy. So we better win this. All that pressure, whether everybody's disappointed at them. If you can think of their social media, it's blowing up right now. So they
Hmm.
are psychologically in a very deep need to make something happen. And when you get desperate like that, you make mistakes. And if we can bat first, ideally,
That's gonna
and put
be a
up,
plus. Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna put them in pretty deep trouble.
Yeah. Rinat,
Yeah.
what are your predictions?
Yeah, I think it's gonna go either we're gonna stutter in pressure, we're gonna assume pressure that we don't have, and we're gonna stumble and lose the game, or we're just gonna dominate if we do manage to carry on the momentum, because the momentum's with us, not with Pakistan, like Ringo said, and Pakistan would have a lot of pressure to, to go back to that India-Pakistan final, and I'm sure that's what most of the fans are expecting. So they do have a lot of expectation on board. But for Bangladesh, I think they don't have a lot of pressure. It's just that our players do a really good job in taking pressure on themselves for no reason. They have a habit of doing that. So I hope they don't do anything like that. Um, our past ODI records with recent past ODI records with Pakistan indicate that we are on equal, if not better than them. So ignoring the fact that they won the ICC Champions Trophy, which I thought was a fluke, by the way, you could disagree with me, but yeah, I think we have the upper hand. All we have to do is just have a slow and stable start. After that, if Bangladesh finds a groove, it's one of those teams which they're really hard to beat after that when they're on the flow.
Right.
So it's just a matter of finding that flow. I hope they win the toss, and I think anything around 260 to 270. Our bowlers are very disciplined. I've been seeing their discipline bowling for the whole tournament, so they should be able to defend that. No
Right.
problem.
My battery's running out, so I think I'm going to close this right here. But we've been talking for a good 50 minutes. Thank you so much, man, Ringo, for coming on. It was a pleasure. And we'll definitely have you back. The people loved you last time, so they'll love you again. And yeah, we have a lot of
Yeah.
fun with these. And just to show the people that the Bangladeshi fans, they're just not a monolith. We come from all different groups, all different opinions, and we can still come together and put on a good show of what we think about our team. So thanks, man, and thanks to everyone for watching this.
Yeah,
Thank you, Rinat, as
thanks
well.
both of you guys. Yeah, we'll talk to you guys again.
See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.